Watchin' It podcast. On today's show, Donnell can't do commercial bathrooms. You know what? We're canceling what we've been watching. I don't want to know what you've been watching, Donnell. I'm done. I can't. Nope. We're going to talk about Silo and then just move. Robert says, when Dungeon is life, it's the only place to meet women. Mm-hmm. And on this episode of Silo, how much is 5 credits worth?
Mm-hmm.
I need to know the conversion ratio.
Yeah, I need that. I mean, it's one of those things when they said that, I was like, oh man, snap. I was like, I don't know how much that's worth. That like $5? That, I mean, probably more than $5.
I'm going to need more than $5 to shut down my rebellion.
Yeah.
I'm going to need 500.
500 to shut down a rebellion?
In this scenario,
I feel in the higher levels maybe, but I feel like in the lower levels, you're going to need more than $500.
$500 go a long way in the lower levels.
It would, but you're also more upset.
They got the trickle-down economics. For real. Like,
man.
Somebody drops a 5-credit chip over the railing from the top. It lands in the bottom, changes the whole economy.
Oh, man. All right, well, let's get into this week's episode of Silo. Is there a name? Are there names?
I'm sure there's a name. I was trying to look it up before we got there because we're professionals.
Yes.
The episode, season 2, episode 2 is called Order. Should have been called The Order.
Yeah.
But I guess Order makes sense.
Yep.
Kind of a tamer episode.
A little bit tamer.
Dealing with aftermath.
Got a little bit of world building there. Of course, after our revelation last episode of, oh my gosh, there's a new character in Silo. I'm not going to see him at all this episode. we have no Juliet. We have no Solo, as Robert has already told us his name is going to be. But we did get to see the room, or what the room probably looks like that Solo's in.
Yep.
Because, this episode starts with Bernard watching some. I mean, it pretty much
he's watching the live video.
Looked like cop cam footage.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they've got a camera on the suit that
Yeah.
Juliet has, and he's watching. And then he's like, "Stop!" I'm like, "No, you gotta watch all of it." Man.
Yeah. You got to see where this goes. I mean, I guess he saw enough with all the dead bodies, but we get to see that.
Yeah, but you would want to know that she got into the silo.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, he should have watched until he just.
I mean, I'm guessing there's
broke
a
the helmet
or something.
Yeah, but so he gets in there, or he's watching the video, gets to see what Juliet basically sees. So he knows that she made it to another silo. He doesn't know what happened after that because that's where he stopped it. Maybe he'll go back and watch the footage later. But he knows that she made it to another silo, and he goes and grabs the book. The is it called the Order? Is the book called
It's
the
called
Order?
The Order.
Yeah. So he grabs the book, The Order, opens it up, and it says, if someone fails to clean, prepare for war. And I'm like, damn, we just 0 to 100 real quick up in here.
Exactly what happens in the book.
Yeah.
Not the Order book, but the
book.
The
about,
book.
Yeah.
This episode was excruciating for me because I know all the things.
All the things.
And this is just dancing around all the things.
All the things. Yeah. See, this is why you shouldn't know all the things.
And also is diverting from the books.
Yeah.
So
okay.
Because we got Judge Meadows as a prominent character in this episode, and we find out that she used to be his shadow.
Yes.
And that he wants her to be his shadow again.
Mm-hmm.
She is not his shadow in the books. The guy who was staring at the stars in season 1, that he sent to the mines, that's his shadow in the books. So that's a huge diversion of characters.
Huge divergent right there. That's
massive change.
That is
so it's really weird to see where this is
so
going to go.
Here's the thing, since we brought it up, let's talk about Judge Meadows here. So, because basically, like I said, we know Juliet Nichols had her shadow back down when she was in the down in the engineer. She had her that kid who was her shadow. Sims had that dude who was going to be a shadow until he framed him and killed him. And Sims wants to be Bernard's shadow, and so it really looks like Shadow is basically the next in line for that job. And you got to have if you want to go shadow somebody else. You got to have your shadow ready to take the place. And Sims does not. No. I'm assuming Sims wants the sheriff to be. I don't know. I feel like there's a divide between Sims and the sheriff.
Well,
now.
I'll tell you now. In my opinion, so Bernard, he knows what's good, the truth.
Yeah.
The truth.
Yeah, 100%.
Which we're not going to find out for a couple of seasons.
Yeah.
Maybe. Bernard, Sims and the sheriff, the current sheriff, neither of them can handle the truth.
Oh no, 100%.
In my opinion. Yeah.
Well, yeah, no, Sims. So Sims definitely wants to be Bernard's shadow, but like you said, I don't think he's capable of it. But we do find out, like I said, in this episode, Judge Meadows was his shadow, and then quit for some reason.
Yeah.
And my thing is, like,
she
I
probably
feel like
couldn't handle the truth. That's why she's a drunk, and I don't blame her.
But my thing is this: I just feel like if you're once you become the shadow of somebody Sims level or higher, I feel like if you have a falling out, that's not a, oh, hey, it didn't work out, we'll get you a nice cushy judge job. That's you're going to clean. Like, I feel like the fact that she's still in the silo, I'm like, she knows way too much. Yeah. Like, they make it very clear with the conversations that she has with him that she knows, like, if maybe not as much as Bernard, but she knows about what's going on outside the silo and what a lot of what this is about. So I'm like, and you just letting her, I mean, yeah, she's drunk in her apartment now, but what if one day she's sobered up and decides, I'm going to go get on a megaphone and start being like, let me tell you about what's going on outside or why we're all in this tube. Like, I just feel like, no, that's kind of person. You're like, nah, you got to go. And then talking about Paul and Sims, I don't think Paul could ever be like Sims, because that's the one thing we get to see in this episode again. I mean, we saw it in the first season, but also in this episode again. It's like Paul is a man of the system.
Oh yeah,
like he is loyal to the point where like Sims also is a part of the system, but we see, I mean, like he said, he killed his own shadow to frame somebody. Like we see that Sims is willing to go outside of that, along with Bernard and stuff. They're willing to go outside of those rules to keep the system in place. But still, so it's like where Paul's like, no, the system says do this. This is how we do it, and sort of thing. So like Sims would rather the system burn down because it was faulty than bend the rules to keep it working. Not Sims, Paul.
Well, yeah, I mean, at least Paul and Sims are playing from the same book.
Yeah.
Bernard, he's playing from a whole nother book.
Whole different book.
He got a whole nother book. Yeah.
Like that's the thing is like how does someone. Like if Bernard finds someone, I mean, like I said, he has the judge again, but if he finds someone to be his shadow, like I just feel like that thing is like literally like in every other position, even if you're Sims's shadow, when he brings like, okay, I'm gonna bring you into the inner chamber and start showing you the real stuff, like while it will be jarring and like against what you know, it still fits within the bubble of the silo that where like, oh, this just explains why Jujitsu knows everything. They got cameras everywhere and stuff. Where
that's
like,
not even the true secret door.
Yeah, I would say where when Bernard brings you in and be like, you're my shadow now, let me show you the truth. Like it's like, yeah, you are now entering a new world. Like you said, you're playing a different game. You've been playing checkers your whole life, and Bernard's like, here's the chessboard. You're like, what the hell is this? Yeah. So yeah, it's that's a and like I said, you don't like as you said with a judge and why she's always drinking, and so it's like you don't come back from that and just be like, oh, didn't work out. Like
well, I mean, and she doesn't at the end, but
yeah.
So we have a brief scene down deep where they're all freaking out.
Mm-hmm.
The mayor's declared martial law. Put the judicial and in charge of the sheriff. And there's a scene where Shirley, the best friend of Juliet Nichols, says, I want to go out too.
Mm-hmm.
And they just ignore that.
They just ignore.
I'm like, I mean, a lot of people just heard you say, I want to go out.
Yeah, but it's the down deep. Yeah. So watching this episode, I was watching. So like I said, it's the down deep that everyone's kind of riled up, upset. Like I said, it took me a moment to realize, like when it said prepare for war if someone doesn't clean, I was thinking like, oh, there's like, I don't know, you're gonna entice another silo to come looking for you. But I was like, no, it's not war from the outside, it's war from inside. Yeah. And we see that, like I said, the down deep is is raised. Hank is there trying to get everybody under control, can't get them under control. And my thing was literally, while I was watching this, I was like, and I thought he had made his choice because of when he arrests Walker. I was like, well, I guess you made your choice. But I'm like, there's going to come out, maybe not this season, but there's going to come a point where Hank's going to have to make a choice of which side he's on. Because, like, he's the sheriff in the down deep, and everybody likes him and kind of sees him as one of them. But, like, he's going to have to make a call. He can't play both sides of the fence, Yeah. Like, he can't be a part of the law and still be chummy with everybody down in the down deep and vice versa. Like I said, I thought when he arrested Walker, I was like, well, that's it. He made his choice. But then later on in the episode when he vouches for Shirley, I was like, okay, he's still riding that fence. But I'm like, you can't ride that fence forever, Hank.
Yeah. Well, he just knew there were some orders he can't.
Yeah.
He can't ignore. There's a brief scene in here that concerns like Juliet Nichols' dad.
Yeah.
It's like seemed like throwaway and unnecessary.
Yeah, I don't know what that was for.
Like he just taking care of a baby for a few minutes.
They were like, hey, Bernard was like, have someone watching her father. So I thought something more was gonna come of that, but then it was just like, nope, he's just watching a baby. Don't know what this has to do with anything.
So we're gonna be kind of all over the place this episode because this was an all over the place episode.
100%,
We jumped around a lot.
Yeah.
The judge is not required to watch the cleaning.
Yeah, I mean,
certainly there's paperwork the judge has to sign off on.
I mean, I feel like
for a cleaning and should be required to view it.
But I feel like whether it's Bernard who's doing it or whether she just has her underlings and judicial forge her signature or whatever. Because like I said, the judge very talks about when Bernard comes to see her, talks about how C is basically like the Wizard of Oz, the man behind the curtain who has no power. And so, like, I think she kind of just given up where she's like, yeah, okay, if they need my signature, my assistant can handle that sort of thing.
I'm surprised the Wizard of Oz is allowed reading.
Well, that's that's the thing is one thing so Bernard comes to, like I said,
I guess she does have relics.
Yeah, and he's like, hey, I want you to be my second again, or my shadow again. And he's like, what do you want? You want more living space? You want your pick of the relics? So, like, when she grabbed, because I thought the same thing. When she grabbed that book, I was like, hold up, that's allowed. And then when he's like, you can have whatever relics you want, I was like, oh, like, this is some of that, like I said, where Paul would never do that. Be like, here, I'll give you a relic to do something. Like, no, there's some of that, underhanded for the order stuff where they break the rules,
Yeah. There's a brief scene where Knox, the head of mechanical, goes and sees, I'm assuming, a maintenance guy or something. Like it seems like a whole nother department that they didn't name, but there's like a guy in a wheelchair.
So
and
he
it's a big
said,
workshop.
Don't want you engineers up here. I'm assuming like these guys, because he asked them not to make weapons. I'm assuming these guys are probably like the tool makers, or whatever. Manufacturers, make all the tools for the different, like engineers and all the stuff that need. But we get this guy in a wheelchair. You pointed out something to me. I was like, oh, yeah, this dude is stuck. Because, like, there's no pulley systems allowed in this silo. Yeah. So I'm like, this guy can't go to any other floor. I mean, unless he got some really good friends who are willing to, like, pick him in his chair up. Like, he is just stuck on whatever floor he's on. Unless, like I said, he's just stuck there.
Yeah.
But
I'm assuming someone can pick him up and carry him. A porter.
Yeah. But
By the way, again, I'm still pissed off that we're not getting, like, the porter, like, stuff.
Yeah.
Like there's so much stuff in the books with the porters and we're just completely not.
I mean, I feel
like,
like,
I mean, there's more episodes
when
to
you
come.
really think about this silo and all that, like the porters are the ones who, like I said, most people stay within a couple floors of where they live. There's not much, but I mean, like when Juliet came up from the deep down to be the sheriff, or when when the mayor and the sheriff went down to meet her, like that was a big event. People don't stuff. And so, like, the porters are the
guys
ones
who know things.
Exactly. Like, it would be interesting to have a porter as a main character in this series. Where we get to see that person who's like, he's down in the down deep, but he's also, stuff. I also, being a little bit more interested to get some more mid-level stuff. We see the top with judicial and the sheriffs and all that stuff, and we see the bottom. Don't see too much in the mid.
Yeah.
But anyways,
I mean, mid is where judicial is.
True.
Yeah.
So Mayor giving a speech.
Yep.
I
gotta
give
masterfully crafted speech.
I gotta give him props, and it I was kind of in the boat with the judge when she's like, I just came to see you fail, because I'm like, I don't know how. Like he's like, I want to talk to everyone. Like, what are you gonna say that's gonna keep everyone? Especially because I point out like one thing with Tim Robbins, who's playing him. He's playing this role so well. Is like the Bernard is very much a meticulous, analytical sort of person. His social cues are not there, which I just like. Tim Robbins is really portraying that really well. And so I'm like, what are you, the socially awkward, doesn't really know? I mean, we saw his last speech at the funeral where he gave like that weird, I can't remember what he said, but it was like, was terrible. I was like, how's he gonna pull this off? And then he gives out this speech. I was like, you know what? I mean, he turned Juliet into a hero. He made it seem like her survival was actually a good thing. And I was just like, you know what? I gotta give him some props. I did not think he could pull that off.
But it's helped by a few well-placed hecklers that are paid off.
Yep, some paid off guys. Some people who were apparently in detention that
they got They got 20 credits.
20
each.
credits each, and they got free from whatever they were locked up
Detention,
from.
yeah, whatever.
Yeah, I mean,
But yeah, the Meadows backs up Bernard and says that by the power invested her, which I guess she's treasurer too.
yeah,
She's giving 5 credits to every household.
Mm-hmm.
So not even just each person.
Yeah, every household. How much is 5 credits?
Yeah.
I need to know how.
If you're gonna drop something like that on us, we need conversion ratios.
What does that come out to? Can I like if I get 5 credits? Can I take a week off from work on 5 credits? Can I relax? Like, what does 5 credits get me? Can I buy like, I don't know what the equivalent of like owning like a big purchase would be, but like, can I buy like the equivalent of a car for 5 credits? What is 5 credits?
By the way, this is just going to cause inflation.
Mm-hmm,
Do you not? Does the order not talk about economics of the silo? Okay, giving everybody just a bunch of money is going to mess up the economy.
It's going to screw up the economy.
People are going to be raising rents by 1 credit a month or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, everybody should be able to afford 2 credits now.
I would take an episode or like a side episode of just like the economics of the silo.
Yeah.
I mean, how does it all work?
It's one of those things. It's like, and this is why probably we would never be able to make TV. But it's like, I also think like, yeah, we often come to a point where we're talking about a show where I would be like, no, I really like just a side episode of, just the guys going over the brass tacks.
Yeah,
and my
it's
thing
called
is
Andor.
Well, what I was going to say is, my thing is this is like, yeah, if me and Robert ever like got some production company behind us, who's like, yeah, here's the money, make a show. It would be like a 13 episode show, but it also would have like 26 spin-off episodes dealing with like the minor details that only people like us would watch.
All throughout this episode, the best friend Shirley is having secret meetings in the down deep.
Yeah.
I guess a lot of people now know about the down deep.
Yep, seems
underneath
like it.
the engineering where the drill is. Trying to start a revolution.
Yep.
Talking about the switching of the tape.
Yep.
And all that stuff. Walker comes and shuts it. Walk comes and shuts it all down.
Here's my question.
Okay.
So, because before Walker comes and shuts it down, Walker and the lady who
Walk, not Walker.
I thought it was Walker. Everyone has called her Walk.
Maybe it is Walker.
I don't know.
You're right. You're absolutely right. It is Walker.
I'm pretty sure I've seen some of them call her fully Walker. But so Walker and then the lady who helped with the tape. I don't know what her name is. I didn't even recognize
Walker's
her.
friend.
Walker's
I
friend.
didn't put that in my notes either.
But they both get locked up and they're supposed to be being questioned by jujitsu. And then they have their secret conversation, talk about what they're going to do about the tape.
By the way, classic mistake.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. And then they make it clear that, there's a camera right there in the vent. So jujitsu solving. And then and then the speech actually comes after that scene. So my wondering is like, did jujitsu deliver that information to Bernard? Like, hey, this is what happened. And that's how he put his speech together? Or did he, or just guess that? Because like I said, they made it like very clear.
Well,
because then jujitsu let him go without questioning. Like he was like, jujitsu had questions. Now they don't have questions. Like, yeah, they don't have questions because they already heard you explain everything.
Yeah.
In the cell.
Well, so Bernard knows the tape didn't work.
Yeah.
And that the only way that Nichols could have stayed walking is if the tape was the tape was fixed.
I really do like
that's the only way it could happen.
Yeah.
Right.
The other thing with Bernard in the tape that comes up in the episode is when he's talking with is it with the judge? I think it was when he's talking with the judge. He's like, I should have had her thrown in the mines when she stole the tape. And like I said, ever since this tape, I mean, like I said, it makes complete sense now. I just remember when this tape was brought up originally, when Bernard was still just the head of IT and Nichols was becoming the sheriff and all that stuff. And he had put out the word about her and her tape. I'm like, I can't believe this man is so petty about tape. But then you realize, like, oh, no, this means a lot more.
The tape's a big deal.
Yeah, it's a big deal. And also, like, there's the hidden fact, like I said, is when they didn't realize at the time, but when Nichols, stole the tape or whatever, took the tape, and then they realized this tape is crap. Like, this tape is terrible compared to our tape. Why do they have such bad tape in IT? And now it, like, makes sense. Like, oh, well, it's because they intentionally put the bad tape on.
because it's not supposed to be good tape.
So you die when you go outside. Like, the fact that there's little crime of stealing tape when you're first like, man, this is a petty thing for him to be upset about. I was like, oh, it's not. He's like, you're not supposed to have that tape. You can't have that tape because then you know that the tape is crap.
We see a bunch of graffiti showing up on around the silos saying JL, which stands for Juliet Lives.
Yeah. And interestingly enough, because it's one thing that's kind of pointed out, like at first when they're talking about like rebelling, like, well, that's in the down low. But then even Bernard pointed like that. This is on the higher levels. This people
yeah,
are
it's everywhere. Yeah,
putting JL on the higher levels. Like this isn't just stirring in the bottom. So there's that chance. I like that even Bernard, when he meets with people, he's like, I bought us like a day or two. Like even Sims is ready to take a victory lap, and Bernard's like, dude, like this is like a 2-day stall. We got a lot to figure out.
There's a brief scene between Sims and his wife.
Yeah,
and it really does seem like the wife knows more than she's supposed to know.
Well, I mean, she did work in judicial.
Yeah, but she was just a raider.
She was, but it's interesting because his wife. I wonder how much she knows from her job, than how much she knows from Sims. But also, she seems to kind of she knows way more than she's supposed to be. Like, I feel like if Bernard found out his wife knew that much, it'd be a problem.
And like going back, revisiting Walk and her friend in jail, basically admitting to crimes in front of the camera. How does Walk not know that there are cameras or listening devices everywhere? I feel like she would have that information.
Yeah.
Like she would have discovered it.
I mean, maybe yes and no. I mean, unless someone, because I was about to say Juliet never told her, and so I don't know if she, and also Walk. I mean, she's been in her house up until recently.
But she's like the de facto mayor of the Down Deep.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I feel like either like just information passes through her, or maybe like a camera or listening device would accidentally come across her shop.
Yeah.
And she'd be like, what is this? And figure it all out.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I
think it's interesting that Walk just recently started coming out of her house. Because I'm just like, how would this arrest scene have gone down?
Yeah.
If she hadn't gotten over her fear of going out, like it would have been a huge.
She got over that fear way too quick.
Yeah.
Quack. Anyway, this kind of wraps up with Bernard asking the judge, not straight up, but basically alluding to, I want you to be my shadow again, and the judge agreeing to help after they waste an obscene amount of alcohol in the sink.
I will say, their conversation, especially the first part when he comes in and he's like, I realized, I was, by offering you stuff, I was putting you down and was beneath you and all that stuff. And I'll be honest, even though one of these people is by far, at least right now, the biggest antagonist of the show, and the other one is apparently becoming part of that antagonist's side. And I was like, this is actually quite a touching moment to watch between these two. Like him being just honest, like, you're the only person that I'll listen to. And I'm like, oh, that's touching.
All right,
that's
so
nice.
Spoiler time, sort of.
Okay.
I'm going to tell you now.
Yep.
Bernard,
not
the bad guy.
Not the bad guy.
He seems like the bad guy right now.
Mm-hmm.
But when we get to a revelation about what's really going on, you're going to see Bernard in a different light. Maybe not a completely white light.
Yeah.
But
world's going to get kind of
you're going to be like, okay, maybe he was doing the best he could.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. But the judge ends the episode by saying she wants the good tape.
Yeah.
And she wants to go out.
She wants to go out.
Yeah.
Like, once they're done getting this rebellion under control, she's going out. Which I just kind of feel like, unless they're going to, like, turn off the cameras for that, like, you're just going to start another rebellion finally walking over the hill. So, like, that's going to have to be done in quiet.
No, I mean, so look, so now that the good tape concept is out, there'd be a lot of people that are like, I want to go out with the good tape. I want to be one of the sacrificial lambs to go
That's one of the
out.
things that I was kind of thinking about to help quell the rebellion, is to get the people who, like, if people want to go after Juliet, let them go, like, sort of thing. But just don't give them the good tape. Maybe see if you can make some tape that's just good enough to get them over the hill, but not to another silo. Like, we don't want you doing what Juliet did and actually getting somewhere, but we do want to be like, hey, you made it over the hill and then promptly died. I don't know, but
I mean, that's how you do it. Is you be like, hey, the judge, magnanimously at the end of her life has decided that she wants to go out and test out some new equipment that we've been developing.
Yeah.
And whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe she makes it, maybe she doesn't. We don't know. But we're all kind of outside the books with the judge here.
Yeah, no, it's very interesting how outside the books are. I mean, it's like I said, it's just like The Boys. I think this is another telling of the source material. Like they took the source material, but they're putting their own spin on it.
They just better get
major
back
degrees.
to Solo in the next episode.
Yes, 100%.
Which they're definitely gonna do. but-
Yeah, it has to be. I mean, I need to know what the hell's going on with him in this room. Yeah.
Oh, best character in the book. Can't wait for it. Hey, if you like the show, you should check out our website, watchinitpod.com. There you can find links to our social media. And if you want to email us, watchinitpodcast@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. Donnell, what else should they do?
Oh, we're in the silo right now. Well, we're not in the silo, but we're into silo
We've
right
always
now.
been in the silo. Donnell.
But it's about that time of year for the holiday special. I think we're gonna probably in a week or couple weeks here.
Yeah.
We're gonna have the pre
We talked to
holiday
Mike yet?
special. Mike has a good idea. Threw me an idea, Robert. He's like,
Oh.
we're always shoehorning up our Hallmark movie, with ideas, and while we're doing the special, and he's like, why don't we take whatever ideas we get this time and feed it into AI and have it make us a script?
Yeah.
And I was like,
there
you
we
know
go,
what?
There we go.
Let's do it. Let's see if we can get our Hallmark movie into a script. Maybe we can hit them up next year. Because even if the AI is terrible already, it's a Hallmark movie. I mean,
Yeah.
come on. Maybe we get our names out there. I know this is just a joke, but if we somehow got our script in the hands, and even if we get paid to poultry them out, wouldn't care just to have my name pop up written by Donnell Johnson, Robert Bell. I'd be like, yeah. But we're gonna be doing our pre-holiday episode, and then of course we'll be doing the holiday episode. We got both of those on the books, and then after the new year,
Best of episode.
best of.
I've already got my list.
Oof, I need to work on mine.
Yep.
On mine. I got to figure out. I know one of the songs I want to put on my list, but I can't because it's not from this year. Because
That's so sad.
What?
That's so sad for you.
Yeah. Because I just discovered this show. You know what show it is?
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Well, you could do season 2.
Because Anyways, we got that all coming up for you folks. So yeah, stay tuned, and we're gonna take ourselves a quick break.
All right, Donnell, tell us about pooping.
Before that, I'm gonna do a quick little other thing I watched. Is I did a recent rewatch of one of my favorite cartoons, animations, the Boondocks.
Okay, I don't think I ever watched it all the way through.
Yeah. I always tell people, it's like watch the season 1 and 2. Those seasons are just pure gold. Season 3 has a couple good episodes, but it's kind of where things start to flounder. And then don't even waste your time with season 4. Season 4, complete dumpster fire. No reason to watch it. But yeah, I ended up watching it because and she is I hope she's gonna be in some more stuff soon here because he is one of my favorite actresses. But Regina King, she does the voice of both Huey and Riley in the cartoon.
Oh yeah, from Watchmen.
Yes, she was also in Watchmen, and she's a great actress. And the reason I ended up watching Boondocks again is she did a interview where they were kind of like going over like some of her most iconic roles and stuff, and the Freeman boys came up, and she was talking about how she got the job as Huey and Riley, and it was because she went and she auditioned for and got the role as Riley. And then they just kept going through, and they're like, we got to find a Huey, and they kept having people audition, and she kept reading, with the people who were auditioning for Huey as Riley.
Yeah.
And so she just kept hearing the same lines over and over and over again. Eventually, she was like, let me give it a shot. Let me see if I can do it.
Yeah.
And
it's like, hey, you guys suck. I'm just gonna step in here.
I mean, basically, that's what the directors and stuff were saying. Is like, we can't find a Huey, and she's like, what if I just did both of them? And so she stepped into the voice of Huey, and they're like, that's perfect. And like, it's one of those things like, I never, like I said, when I was actively watching this show the first time around, one is I barely even knew who she was, but also I didn't know she did the voice of both of them. Now going back and watching, like, I can hear her in both the characters, but she still made them both so distinctively different that like it just like she is the voice of Huey and Riley, like the comics that came out before the cartoon. Like they didn't have a voice, but like she made that voice. Like, and they were at one point going to do a reboot of the show. And like that was one of the things I was like, which they did, but I was like, if you don't have Regina King, you ain't you ain't got no show. Like I was just like, that's how those characters sound. Is she did them perfectly. But yeah. So I did a rewatch of Boondocks. It's still great. Still enjoy it very much. It's one of those shows where you watch it and you enjoy Riley, but I mean, at least for me, but Huey is you in the cartoon. Like you're just like, because Riley is just
maybe not me.
He'd be you. You would side more with Huey than you would anybody else in the show. But like that's the thing is like it's Riley is the stereotypical wannabe gangster sort of kid, and it's all about getting his money and stuff. And Huey is like and then the granddad is like the over the top kind of like old dude. And like that thing is everybody's played the extreme, and Huey is like the voice of reason throughout it. But yeah, it's a good show. I recommend it to anybody. I know for sure. Sometimes white folks might struggle with it, not because of some of the content, but I'll say this: a friend of ours, Robert. I'm not sure if he said his name in the podcast before, so I won't say it, but he got married recently, and we were at his wedding.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. He watches it, so if he can watch it, you can watch it, folks. But yeah, Boondocks, I'd recommend it to anybody. Well, season 1 and 2, and you can watch 3 at your own will if you want. Don't touch 4 at all. There's no reason to watch 4. 4 was after, because they made the creator of the comics was brought in to make the cartoon, and so season 1 and 2 were basically he was in full creative control. Season 3 is when the network kind of started sticking their fingers in it, and that's why
didn't it get canceled because it was they thought it was too racist?
No, it got canceled because it fell out in the ratings. Because basically, season 3 is when the network started being more involved, and that's why I said season 3 the quality does such a slip. And then season 4 is when they fired the creator of the comics, and then decided they were going to make it on their own, and it's terrible because he was the idea, man. Like, he's the guy who made the comics. He knows what's good about it. And so when they fired him, it became garbage. And then when they announced the reboot, one of the main things they first said was we got, I think his name is Hank something. And we got Hank, Hank's back. And that's why I was excited about the reboot. It's we got him back. We're going to do it with him again. But then it fell through because the guy who voiced Granddad passed away, and they just, for whatever reason, couldn't recast him. Even though there's a video of the guy's son doing his impression of his dad doing Granddad, and it sounds almost spot on. I'm like, he's right there. Just use his son. And his son wanted the role, but whatever. Anyways, that's beside of it. Anyways, so communal bathrooms, Robert. You want to know what I've been watching? It's something you've been watching.
So what do you define as a communal bathroom? Because
as in,
I'm just thinking general bathrooms in an office or something.
No, I'm talking about here's a toilet. I'm pooping. There's a toilet right next to me.
Okay, I know what you're talking about.
You are also pooping.
Yeah. No, I'm not into this
There's
at all.
no walls, no nothing.
I do love the scenes.
Yes.
I do love the scenes.
Because I was about to say, the show I want to talk about is the show I talked about last week. Yeah. But it's so freaking good. And everybody in it is so good.
I've been telling you for a year, my man.
Lioness is fantastic, folks. And
I
know,
so good,
I know I talked about this last week, but I was watching this week's episode and just... It's one of those things okay, as I've already said, everybody in it is acting well. But it's not just that they're acting just giving this great outstanding performance. Because I was I'm not even paying. Like I said, the main people you're going to see Zoe Zidane, her husband.
Zaldana.
Zaldana, yeah, sorry. I was mixing her up with freaking the Disney Star chick. Anyways, her husband, who I can't remember his name. You're going to see Nicole Kidman. We're seeing a little bit more Morgan Freeman this time around, which is nice.
Yeah.
We're going to see the one dude, and he's actually one of the people I want to talk about, but now I can't remember his name. Is he the boss of Nicole Kidman and or what's the boss?
They're kind of on the same level. I think he's the chief of staff or something.
Yeah.
Or maybe deputy director of the CIA or something.
Yeah. But anyways, what's his name? Because I actually want to talk about him. Oh, the husband name is Dave Annable. I don't even know how to say that. But yeah, so you're going to see these main characters, but she has her squad. She has Michael freaking Kelly. This is Brian Winfield. It doesn't say what Brian's role is. I got to go to the Wikipedia page here. I was hoping they'd just say it there.
Well, he's playing Byron Westfield, whatever that is. Yeah.
Yeah, Byron Westfield, which is why is he not higher up? Michael Keller's at the bottom of this. He's a CIA deputy director, and he is Caitlin's supervisor, which is Nicole Kidman. So he is their boss.
Yep,
he is both of their bosses. But no, I will say they portray their relationship like those two are very much on the same level.
Yeah,
but yeah, and so watching this, like I said, like every scene that everybody's in. As you're watching it, it's not like I said. Every show, that's the whole point of actors and actresses. Like, we want you to play this role and stuff. But it's like, no. Like you don't feel like it's just so well acted. Like you feel like these could be real people. Yeah. And then I also like that this show does not shy away from the fact that our CIA does some shady shit.
Oh yeah.
There's literally a part when they go in to do this raid in Mexico, and they're like, it's going in the cover night, and it's against some cartel and stuff. They're breaking in, so you're like, okay, fine, they're killing indiscriminately, but you're like, whatever, it's cartel. And then the cops roll up, and the lady in the helicopter is like, hey, we got some cops coming in. She's like, okay, how many? 3. It's like, how far out? Like a little ways. And he's like, let us know when they get closer. They're like, okay, they're kind of close. And he's like, take them out. And she's like, take them out. And she's like, take them out. And I'm just like, what? Yeah. and then they find a whole bunch of kids, and they're being trafficked, and they're just like, well, time to go. And I'm like, oh, I like that they don't, because it's one of those things. Growing up as a kid, you're like, oh, the USA, we do everything. We're the good guys of the world and all this stuff. And then you start learning that, the CIA, they've been up to
everybody
some stuff.
Everybody needs a Section 31, man.
And I like that this show is like, we're these characters that we're watching. You're watching for these characters, and you like these characters. But then also, like, they're like, oh, these are definitely gray characters. Yeah. But yeah.
But what Donnell's his tag?
Yes,
they are.
There's a scene.
They're working out of this air base.
Yeah. That
has a bathroom that's for men and women.
Yep.
That has the showers and the toilets.
Across from the toilet. The showers are, and there's like, so the bathroom is, one side is a wall of toilets with no, like I said, they're just
no
sitting
dividers,
there
nothing,
and stuff. And then there's a bench in the middle where you can sit to undress. And then there's right there is the shower.
No walls,
no walls, nothing. Yeah. And like, they make it very obvious, like, this is just, they're used to it to extent until 2 Cups comes in there and blows up a toilet. And everyone's like, oh, hell no. And I love Bobby. Bobby, of the background characters, like not background, but like more minor characters, Bobby is very high on my list. It's just like, Bobby's my girl. I'd love to kick it with Bobby. Bobby's fantastic. And it's just a great show. And I know this is 2 weeks in a row, but that's how good it is, folks. Please,
I've been telling you for a year. It was on my best of list last year.
Robert brought it up. Please go and watch it. It is worth your time because it is a fantastic show. The one thing I do not like, Robert, what I do not like about this show is that we only have 3 more episodes left this season. And I'm like, there is no way we're wrapping up what's going on with the cartel.
I know. There's going to have to be like
3 episodes.
They're not going to wrap up this season.
We're just getting, she just got to her dad's place. She hasn't even met her uncle.
Well, no, because they changed the script now, right? Because now she's talking, well, I don't want to spoil it. But the plan is out the window. They got a new plan.
A new plan, but there's still the part. she still needs to meet her uncle. We haven't even met her uncle. It's freaking 3
I'm
episodes.
so glad that they brought back the Lioness from the first season into this one and how she's interacting with the new girl.
The scene when
they're getting ready for
character
dinner?
goes to get her.
Oh yeah,
and like when they're just talking like this, everyone just it's just so good. It's just so freaking good.
Yeah, good times.
Yeah. I promise next week I will not talk about Lioness.
Unless
next week's episode is so good, I'm like, but no, I will have.
Should we be covering that show? If you had known, we would be covering that. Probably not over Silo though.
No, not over Silo.
It'd be a dual show for sure.
Yeah. All right, Robert. Tell me about the anime that I know that you're going to talk about. This is one of the few animes. I haven't watched all of it, but I know of it, and I have watched some episodes.
Well, I'm going to talk about a non-anime.
All right.
I watched the movie Lee. Okay. This is a movie from 2023.
Okay.
It is starring Kate Winslet Andy Samberg, Alexander Skarsgård.
Okay.
It is about Lee Miller, who was the first female war photographer in World War II. And before that, she was a model.
Okay.
And a photographer, like a model. Like, she was a model, and then she became a photographer and did photography for fashion in Vogue.
Yeah.
In European Vogue. And when Vogue started covering the war, she found a way. She was an American and was able to use her American status to become a war correspondent and photographer for Vogue, because Vogue was doing like all the war coverage and stuff too, and went to the front lines and everything, and was one of the first people to photograph the concentration camps after the war was over.
Damn.
And all that stuff. And it's basically the story of, like, she's already finished being the model, and her becoming the correspondent, and her time in, corresponding the war and stuff. And it is fantastic. It is really good.
Yeah, no, that does sound
I'm surprised I didn't hear about it. I'm surprised it didn't get any nods.
Yeah, that's what
at last year's Oscars.
That sounds like a Oscar.
Or I guess this year's Oscars.
Oscar nominee right there.
Yeah, it's really surprising. I would have, if I had known about the movie and seen it, I probably would have put it as a pick.
Yeah.
For something that was going to get nominated. But it is really fantastic. Andy Samberg does a fantastic job.
Nice.
Just well acted, well shot. Just a good story. A little bit of a twist thing they put in at the ending. That's like, it's basically the story surrounds her being interviewed by someone. And I'm not a fan of the twist, but it makes sense when they explain in like the post, like, like it's one of those movies at the end, they like tell you what happened to everybody and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It all makes sense. I don't know. It kind of didn't set well with me, just the way that they ended it, but it is a really good story, and really well done. Kate Winslet stuff. Finally, she can get out from under the shadow of Divergent series. And an anime that I found recently. It is on its 5th season.
Yep.
And it has one spinoff. It is called Is It Wrong to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon? Have you seen this?
I have watched some of it. I'm actually just surprised because you just said you found it recently. Like, this one's been around for a little bit.
It has been around for a little bit, and I know it's been around for a little bit, but I've been putting it off because it's stupid name.
Yeah, that would do it.
I'm like, this is just going to be a stupid anime with a stupid title, but I'm like, okay, a 5th season's coming up. Maybe I should check this out.
Yeah.
There is a spinoff that's really good and a necessary watch. It's called Is It Wrong to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon? On the side, Sword Oratoria.
Okay.
You cannot, I repeat, cannot watch that until you've watched the first 4 seasons.
Okay. All right.
Because basically there's like a main character, but there's kind of a side character. But a very important side character. And it follows all the stuff that they're doing during the main story. So you're going to get like major spoilers and not understand it if you watch it any earlier than the end of the 4th season. Anyway, I put it off for a long time because just looking at it on the surface, book by its cover, it looks like it's just going to be some stupid harem crap. Right? And there is harem crap.
It is.
Going on.
Yeah.
But it's really not.
That's not the core premise.
It's got a very rich world. An interesting story going on with a lot of moving pieces and the shadows and stuff like that. It's centered so in this world, all these gods, like Greek gods and other gods and stuff, like Hindu gods and whatnot, have fallen from heaven or the ethereal plane down to the world.
Okay.
They don't have they kind of have powers, but they're not really like godlike powers. But what they do is they have the ability to track and activate people to level up and gain abilities.
Okay.
Right? So you have all the gods like they build families, right? And they get people they charge them up and help them track their abilities and level up by sending them into this massive dungeon. And they get like a percentage. The gods aren't allowed to go into the dungeon on their own for various reasons they haven't fully explained yet. But anyway, it centers around one kid who's got one god that has one kid. She's like a minor god, and he goes into the dungeon and he gets his ass kicked by this rogue monster that's too powerful for where it is.
Right.
And this knight girl from another god's family saves him. He falls in love with her immediately. Throughout the whole series, it's kind of like he's kind of, likes her and whatnot. But it turns out that this has activated a power in him because she's really strong. I mean, he's not.
Mm-hmm.
But because he wants to be with her, he gets this power that helps him power level. Like super level really fast.
Yeah.
Like it's not really like a 1 to 100 system. It's more like 1 to 7, like EF to S rank.
Right.
Kind of that's how level goes. So like leveling up once could take people like 5 to 10 years. He does it in like 6 months, and everybody freaks out. And then he does it again in like another 6 months, and everybody freaks out. All this stuff. It's just really good, and there's really a lot of weird stuff going on with the dungeon and like the higher level gods that are playing shadow games in the back. It's just so much more than just some stupid harem anime that I thought it was. And it's really good, and I'm really excited for this 5th season. And totally worth a watch.
Nice.
If you're into anime.
Yep.
This is not like a serious anime. It's definitely got some goofy stuff. And it's fun in games. But there's I like a good comedy anime that has some like interesting shadow stuff going on in the background. Yeah. Especially when you get into like the spin-off and you really see like machinations that are happening behind the scenes that the main character isn't involved with. They're like part of inside of his sphere, but he's not paying attention to them, and just what other characters are doing. Well, we were just talking about where we're going to have 27 like little episodes about like what was going on with that there.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Nice. Good stuff.
That's the show, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Stay tuned for more Silo.
Mm-hmm.
Donnell talking about Lioness next week.
Nah, I'm not gonna talk about it unless it could be a really big. Yeah, it could be a really good episode. No, but no,
they're all good episodes.
They're all
Donnell.
good episodes.
There's no bad episodes.
There is
of
not
Lioness
a bad episode, and there's not like ever like we were talking about with this episode of Silo, like a little bit slower, a little bit of stuff. There's no such thing as a slow episode of Lioness. You're in it from the credits roll, and then you're watching it, and then when the credits end, you're just like, what? Where's the next episode?
That's right.
Like, yeah.
I'm watching one right now called Day of the Jackal.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a remake of like a 1970s show or movie called The Day of the Jackal. You may remember there was a movie in like the early 90s or late 90s or aughts called The Jackal with Bruce Willis and Richard Gere.
Yeah.
It's all the same thing. It's basically a master assassin that's a master of disguise and things like that.
Yeah.
They did it. They released the first 6 episodes, and then the next 4 are week to week. What is that? What is that?
That's insanity.
I don't like that at all.
No. Like
I binged the first 6 episodes like in one night, and then I'm like, I gotta wait 4 weeks to find out the end of this.
Yeah, that's insanity. Like, I get annoyed at the shows and
it is a really good show though.
2. I will give you 2 episodes for your premiere. When they sneak that 3rd one in,
that's a bit much.
Yeah. Especially with shows if you do a 3 episode release, then you better have 10 episodes. If you do a 3 episode release and you only have 8 episodes, I'm just like, no. That's too much at once, and then to drip feed me through the rest. Like, I'm upset about that. So yeah, you 2 is, and even 2 sometimes I'm annoyed by, because it's like, I don't either get I either want it all right now, or I want it all spread out where I can digest it as I watch it. But none of this here's a force-fed premiere of 3 episodes, and then we're gonna drip feed you the rest. Like, no,
the only show I've watched that I'm like really okay with them for like dripping it out to me is Severance. Because I get to chew on it. I get to discuss it with friends.
Severance, no 2 episode premiere of Severance, and definitely no release all at once. Yeah, because I want to discuss.
Yeah,
I need to have some time to have some conversations about that episode.
I'll take that for From as well. I'd really love to binge From, but
I need to get into From.
You do.
I need to get into.
It's
From.
scary.
Yeah,
but it's really good, and it's really like, okay, what is going on here? But that's one where I want to We're on season 2.
Season 2. Okay.
That's no.
Not too
Maybe
much
we
to-
are in season 3. I think we are on season 3.
Oh, man, I was hoping there wouldn't be too much for me to have to dig into.
See, I'm about to get you hooked on this. No, I can't get you hooked on anything. You've got Supernatural to watch.
I do. I get back to watching Supernatural. I got to get back on that. I can't let.
But
that
no,
die.
From is one where it's like, okay, I need a week of like reading like 40-page long posts on Reddit about the recent revelations and how that fits into various different theories that everyone has. Like that's one I'll accept a week to week on.
Yeah.
And also I need like a breather because I would just have a heart attack and I would never sleep again if I binged it because it's just too scary.
Come over after that.
Because when I binged season 1 or 2, I had nightmares every day for a month. It was that bad.
Man.
This
All right.
most recent season isn't as scary, I feel like. But those first 2 seasons, oof, rough. Yeah.
Let's check this out. Check it out. Anyways, folks, stay tuned to hear about how Donnell hasn't slept for the last week after he checks out From. And if there's any range reviews, 5 stars. Thanks so much for listening. Bye.